This is 40 Acres and Maybe a Mule, Chapter 1. Pascal hadn't been able to fall asleep that night. Around the plantation, the air seemed full of whispered secrets. As he lay in the cabin doorway, he worried about how people treated him now that Mama was dead. After work that afternoon, he had walked past some men and said, "How y'all doing?" They had stopped talking. Didn't they know that, even though he worked in the big house, he wouldn't have to tell the master? In fact, he had secretly saved one of those men from a beating one day. Master had seen the slave with apples he had picked to feed his children. As soon as Master had run after the man, Pascal had used his big walking stick to break a window. When the master turned around to run to this big house, the other slave and Pascal had both escaped. That had been last fall. It was now spring, and Pascal wanted to know the secrets folks were buzzing about. He'd bet the news had something to do with a war between the states. The night air by his slave cabin door was springing blossom sweet. But that April of 1865, it seemed full of mystery besides. He listened to the breathing of 6 other slaves who lay with him on the crowded cabin dirt floor. From his pad, he glanced out to the open doorway. In the black South Carolina sky, a half moon mothered a million dancing stars. The night sky comforted Pascal's hurting feelings. Soon he felt some of the peace and joy that Mama always had talked about. When a shadow hesitated by his doorway, Pascal sat up. "Who's that?" he asked in a whisper. "Pascal, it's me, Gideon." "Gideon? You're back? Be that really you, Gideon?" Pascal could hardly believe it. His heart seemed squeezed to bursting with happiness. As he stood to hug his tall brother, tears flowed from his eyes. How wonderful to have his brother back. Gideon had run away from the plantation 2 years ago, and he hadn't gotten caught or killed in the war, as everyone thought. "Yes, it be me all right. I came back for you and Mama." "Gideon," Pascal trembled, "Mama ain't here." Tall, wiry Gideon glanced down the row of 24 slave cabins. "Where's Jerusalem City? Where's she be? I be leaving tonight. Don't want no trouble with Master." "Mom's dead, Gideon. She kept asking for more food for the slaves. Folks saw the overseer shoot her down by the creek." Every time he thought about Mama getting shot, Pascal felt a fist ball up in his stomach. That white man just murdered his Mama. How Pascal missed her. Since then, he had felt lost. It seemed like Mama just up and left him to the mercy of the world. Since her death, he hadn't had any family left among the slaves. With Mama and Papa dead and Gideon gone and 4 other brothers sold years ago, Pascal had been alone. Before she died, Mama had told him news, that she had given him something to look forward to, even if it was just a buttered biscuit left on the master's plate. Afterward, there was no one to care. But now Gideon was back. Gideon pulled Pascal to his side, hugged him, and rested his chin on his little brother's head. Pascal felt warm, close to his brother. No one had hugged him since Mama died. Gideon heaved a sigh and said, "All this time I wanted to tell Mama. I wanted to tell her so bad. You know we be free now." "Free?" Pascal held his breath and wiped his eyes. Was this the news the other slaves were whispering about? "Walls of Jericho? You sure now, Gideon?" "Sure, we free," said the voice from Pascal's cabin. "But Master ain't letting none of us go, nor paying us to work, neither," another voice said. "And them that go just walk a little ways down the lane and come back. Some proud darkies keep walking and starve. I don't want to starve." "Freedom?" asked another voice. "There ain't no white folks that gonna let us live free. What's freedom mean for a colored folks in South Carolina?" Gideon shouted. "Freedom means everything." Pascal's heart began to pound faster. Freedom did mean everything. "Hush you now," said a woman. "Don't be getting us in trouble, Gideon. Master angry about this freedom talk, and he might come walking down this way tonight." "But it ain't just talk," said Gideon. "President Lincoln freed us slaves 2 years ago. And better still, now we're going to live on our own land." "Land?" Men from the other cabins scrambled to crowd around Gideon. They called, "Hey, y'all, Gideon's back. "We say we own land." Pascal nodded. With land, they really could be free. Dressing quickly, he stuffed all he owned, shirt, tin, cup, hairbrush, and 3 marbles into a potato sack. He tied the sack on his walking stick and limped to the door. They could own land to farm? Now that was something to look forward to. Pascal was so excited he almost tripped over his lame foot. Where had Gideon been all this time? How far had he traveled? Questions exploded in his mind, but he would wait to ask them. People were whispering and chuckling in a circle around Gideon. "Already happening," Gideon said. As Pascal walked away, he heard, "General Sherman already gave land to some of us who done followed him through the South. 40 acres and maybe a mule's just for the asking for colored people, like Homestead and been for white people." Pascal heard slaves stirring and talking in one cabin he passed. "Who's that down the row?" a woman asked. "Gideon's back," a man told her. "Say they've given out 40 acres and maybe a mule to slaves." The woman snorted. "Gideon's always been a sound off. Worried Jerusalem City because he's never took kindly to slavery. It would be a wonder he's alive." "That woman be a sound off herself," another woman said, sassing the overseer. "She's got herself shot dead." "Yeah, but Missus gave us more food, didn't she?" Heart drumming, Pascal ran stumbling along the path. From birth, his weak right leg was bent inward at the knee, and that leg was shorter. His right hand was weak, too. He reached the cabin he wanted at last. "Nellie," he whispered through the door. "That you, Pascal? What's been going on?" She stepped out. "My brother Gideon's here. Say we free and can own land now. I be going with him. My own brother. You want to come?" He took a deep breath. "Come on, Nellie," Pascal had protested. Nellie, ever since the master had bought her a year ago, Nellie had biscuit tan skin color and full moon eyes of honey brown. For 2 years they had been free, but the masters were still selling and buying slaves. Pascal wondered at that. "Twisting a braid," Nellie said. "You be like my brother." Pascal squeezed her hand. "You're right. We be family. So come on, Nellie. It's true. Gideon say we've been free for 2 years. Free!" she said. "Master won't let none of us go." "Gideon's here. We've been running away with him." Nellie twisted another one of her braids. "Your mama be dead," he said. "What's to keep you? You got no family here. Besides, if you stay after I run away, Master gonna treat you something awful at the big house." Once, a hidden Pascal had used his stick and tripping Master when he was drunk to keep him from kicking Nellie. Nellie had run, and Master never found out why he fell and got that cut lip. At first, Nellie stared at Pascal. Then in seconds, she dressed, tied clothes in a shop, and followed him. When Pascal returned, Gideon asked, "You ready?" Then he noticed Nellie. Pascal is about 12, but Nellie was only about 8 years old. Like Pascal, she was thin. She wore her hair in 6 long braids. Twisting one of them, she stared at Gideon. Since she was new at the plantation, she had never seen him before. "Who she be?" asked Gideon, as he looked her up and down. "My friend Nellie. She be coming with us, Gideon." Gideon tapped his army boot. "I hope she ain't gonna slow me down none," he said, glancing at Pascal. He shook his head. "No more than you, lame leg." Pascal flinched. Gideon could be mean sometimes. "Take 'em, Gideon," called a woman from the cabin. "Master find new children to shoo the flies off his plate. They ain't worth nothing." "Head down, Pascal." Felt as he had been slapped. Folks didn't think much of him or of Nellie, but things were going to change. They were going to find land and be owners. Then he would have a family and a family farm, too. He straightened his shoulders and raised his head. Gideon waved at the people standing around him in the moonlight. "You people stay here in the slimy shame of slavery, you nobodies. I be free on my own way to my own land. Landowners are somebody," he laughed. Folks stepped back. Pascal stared at his brother. What he said might have stung some folks, but the words "landowners are somebody" sounded fine. Without another word, Gideon strode away in the dark, stooping under low tree branches, waving goodbye. Pascal and Nellie followed. She stopped for a small cooking pot and a tin cup, and then ran to catch up. Already they had lost Gideon. Mosquitoes buzzed. Their bite stung Pascal's arms and legs. As the two children scrambled uphill along the path, cicada and crickets sang everywhere. Pascal's heart fluttered as if he were a canary let out of a cage.